So from the Christ came what we consider as life. You can say that the let there be light moment spoken of in the Old Testament in the book of Genesis, we now know that as the Big Bang. There it is. Let there be light. And remember, light is something by which we see, right? By which we see. But you can't have all light, because if it's all light, then you can't see anything. You're blinded. But if it's all darkness, you can't see anything either. So light is by way we see. And now we're looking to see with new eyes, right? In him was life, and that was the light of humanity. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness that did not comprehend it. Now again, symbolical terms here, that when the light of God shines into the darkness of ignorance, it's hard for us to understand that. It's hard for people to understand that if they're not seeking, right? So what we seek for is not just we have eyes, but eyes to see. Some call that enlightenment. We seek to be enlightened. And again, the way to achieve that is to come to God with a humble and contrite heart. Because if there's one prayer that God answers all the time, if you come to God humbly, and remember, you can't come to God any other way, because there's nothing hidden from the eyes of God. But if you come to God with a humble and contrite heart, then you will be enlightened. In the book of James it says, come, if you seek wisdom, ask it of the Lord, and it shall be granted to you abundantly. There it is. You know, when the pandemic hit years ago, I would have my prayer walks around this park in Las Vegas, not far from where we lived. And I had 3 requests of God. I asked God 3 things. Yes. Number 1, I asked God for wisdom. Lord, help me understand. I don't understand what's going on, but help me understand. Number 2, I asked for protection. I said, Lord, I don't know what this is, but Lord, please protect us through it. And lastly, at that time, I had a thriving business, and it ground to a halt because I could no longer be in front of people in a workshop setting. I did workshops that time. And so I asked for provision as well. Like Jesus says in the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread, right? So I sought for that as well. And I can say very confidently that God answered all those prayers. But most important of all is God gave me wisdom. Because I was on a spiritual journey, still am. And I said, I want to understand. There are these things that are being taught to me which don't make sense. And I want to make sense of it. And I guess this podcast is where I am at this point in time. Now, I bring to the table here, by the way, over 40 years of studying the Bible and faith and Christianity. Not in a professional way, although I was a pastor for 15 years, if you call that professional. I like to say I am an amateur biblical student. I love the study of the Word. I really, really do. Because when you study this book called the Bible, you know, the literal, which was inculcated into us when I like to say my born again experience in 1983, right? Again, I realized that now I was beloved of God before the foundations of time. So, but from that time, I thank God for that experience because that gave me a hunger for the study of His Word. And now I found out that the Bible is a book of wisdom. As Peter Enns wrote, he said, the Bible is fully God, but it is also fully man, just like Jesus Christ. It was written by men who wrote it the way they perceived the truth at that time. All right? We have to understand that. It was not dictated to them where they wrote directly like taking dictation. No. God, in His infinite mercy and His humility, let's call it the humility of God, allowed men and women, humanity, to write what we consider to be Scripture, the Christian Scriptures. All right? And again, I believe in a principle where if it's true, it is universally true. So I don't believe we Christians, although I am solidly in the Christian tradition, have a lock on the truth. And as I found out in my studies, that this truth is also in other scriptures as well. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Bible, right? So the first level of truth has many, many levels. That's what you call it the mountain of wisdom, all right? Or the ocean of wisdom. The first level, the surface level, is the literal level. If you stay there, I'm sorry to say, you're going to be judgmental. You're going to look at this book as a book of rules and regulations. And no matter what people say, all Bible reading, all Bible teaching is all interpretation. There's no one interpretation because it depends on the eyes of the people looking at it. Now, I have 21st century eyes. And even 21st century eyes, you have to be somebody that has studied things, is interested in many things, and those are your eyes, as opposed to somebody that doesn't do that. So, through my eyes, I know that the universe is infinitely large. When this was written, of course, God gave them the inspiration, but we have to mine that wisdom. But to the ancients, they believed in a very, very small universe. It was this earth and the sky, which they call the firmament. And beyond that, they didn't know. They thought stars at that time were fixed points of light. Right? So very, very small.